Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have the one and only Paul Williams, who's a former NFL player. So you guys might want to stick around. This is going to be fun. Okay, I'm back. Let me bring Mr. Paul Williams on. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. How are you?
Man, I'm good.
Good.
We were laughing a little bit before the show. This should be fun. If Paul gets too boring, just drop a 1 in the comments, and I'll kick him in the high gear.
I'll go ahead and do that now.
So, Paul, look, I appreciate you coming on. I created this show almost 3 years ago now. And it was really selfishly probably to help me have a breakthrough. But I think that by hearing other people's stories, we can heal our own lives. So, look, you know that woman?
I do know her. She's instructed me on what to do today, what to wear.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I told her I can't hold my breath this long.
She made you wear a girdle, huh? I hate it when that happens.
Exactly.
So Paul, talk about where. Let's start with where you were born and raised.
I was born and raised in Houston, Texas.
In Houston proper, or
in Houston, yeah. And actually, where it is now, it's kind of in the middle of Houston. But when I was growing up, it was on the edge. I mean, there was my neighborhood and then fields, and now my old neighborhood and miles of city.
Wow. Did you know I used to live in Houston?
No, I did not know that. Where?
I have no idea. I was 15. My dad lived down in Houston for 13 years, I think. And I went down. I was going to move to my dad's at 16 years old.
Yeah.
And it was in South Houston, maybe, or something. My ex-girlfriend, well, she became my wife, but she became more important than hanging out in Houston. So
well, good.
Dude, I only went to school one day and I got beat up by a bunch of Mexican kids. And I did. I said, I ain't going back. No way. It was crazy, man.
Oh goodness.
I wasn't a big kid. I'm a big guy now, but I wasn't a big kid. I got my butt whooped.
Well, hopefully that action shot made the yearbook.
Yeah, right. No kidding. So you grew up in Houston. How was it for you? Was it
No, it was good. You know, it was good. My biological father, he took off when I was probably 5.
Okay.
So didn't see much of him. I mean, he called every now and then. I remember one time my younger brother, who's 2.5 years younger than me, and this is his personality. My biological father called one time, and I think my brother, who never knew him, was probably 8, answered the phone, and I don't know why I remember this, but he said, is there anything I can do for you? And my little brother said, yeah, never call here again. I mean, it was just never sent child support. My mother raised this baby. I remember my mom coming home from school, and my mom was babysitting 16, 18 kids.
Gee.
And my grandfather, there was a big bakery here in Texas. It was called Rainbow Bread. And my grandfather, with a 6th grade education, had worked his way up through that. It was Fairmaid and then became Rainbow. He was chairman and CEO. And my mother would not take any help from him on expenses or anything. And she did a phenomenal job. She just turned 81 a couple weeks ago and still going. But, she put us in private schools. We wore the same clothes every day, same uniform. Other kids had the other uniforms. They wore, I don't know if you remember the Izod shirts with the alligator on it.
Of course, man. Yeah.
We had one alligator that my mom would actually sew on other shirts so we could fit in. And, I didn't know it at the time.
That's awesome.
And so, and then I had a stepdad come in from the time I was in the 5th grade, and he was, he was a deal guy, oil or capital markets or anything. And we were either had money or we had the extension cord over the fence to the neighbors to pay the bills. And, and he was an ex-special forces guy, and that was tough. If he's up at 4, we're all up at 4. So it was good because I learned how to work.
Wow.
And so, And
was there discipline? You don't seem like a guy that was disciplined much in life.
it was, yes. If there was anything wrong, it was tough.
Yeah. I can relate. I can relate to a lot of that, actually. So you went to high school, all that in Houston, graduated. Did you end up going to college?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, where'd you start your college career?
Well, career is right.
I know you told me a little bit of.
I went to 4 different colleges. Well, I played football in high school.
Okay.
And one of the things you probably shouldn't do is date the head coach's daughter, which I did. And if times were bad, I remember my senior year on Christmas Eve, I got a call from the University of Oklahoma and said, just want you to know that your coach is blackballing you. So Texas Tech wound up, I called them. I said, I want to go to Texas Tech. And they sent me to a junior college called Cisco Junior College. It's up outside of Abilene. It's a town of about 4,000 people.
Wow.
Up on a hill. And they threw the ball all the time. So I went there. Going into my sophomore year there, I had letters from everybody, to go play football. And in one game, I remember this like I'm watching a movie. I dropped back to pass, did the read. The receiver comes around, should have curled, kept on going. I step up in the pocket, took a helmet to my left kidney, a helmet to my right elbow, and I dropped like a sack of potatoes. And they carted me off to the hospital, and my kidney was not in good shape. Doctor told me I'd never play again. A couple days later, they said, we're going to send you over to Abilene and take out your kidney. So I called my roommate and I said, I need you to bring my 1978 Ford Fairmont station wagon with the hood of the car that's tied down with a coat hanger. So
they're not taking my kidney.
No. So I drove to Houston, went to a urologist, and he told my mom, put him in bed for 6 weeks, and whatever he wants, go get it for him. And, I went back to school and got all my letters from the mail from all the schools, and they were all get well, not one offer. It was Bear Bryant, sorry to hear about your injury, just people like that. And I've got them somewhere. I don't know where they are, but Texas A&M actually said, come on over. And I went there and couldn't pass the physical. So I lived in an apartment and ate Kentucky Fried Chicken and Mr. Gaddy's pizza every day for a semester. The end of the semester, I was 240 pounds.
Dude, I love some good KFC, man.
Absolutely. And thought about joining the Army after that. And then a school, Stephen F. Austin, called and said, come on over. So I went there and had to redshirt. Everything was going great. In the spring, you play your spring game.
Yeah.
And I broke both my shoulders.
Jeez.
So that was over. So I sat there, I'd get in the car, throw one hand on the steering wheel, drive like this, get in the shower, trying to do this. Couldn't raise my arms.
Jeez, oh man.
So I sat out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is what year in college are you now?
This was, this had to be 83, 84, I guess.
Okay.
And then,
so you were like maybe sophomore?
Yeah, I was sophomore. Once I hurt my kidney, I was out of school. So I lost all my hours. So that put me behind.
Wow.
And wound up I set out in the fall, did rehab, got back in shape, went to another school called Tarleton State in Stephenville, Texas, which is a big rodeo school. So going to play football. But back then, the run and shoot was in with the Houston Gamblers and the USFL and all that. And that's what we were running. I was starting quarterback in the spring. So I come home for summer and I leave to go to camp. And I was dating a girl that lived up in Fort Worth, and I was at her house before I went to camp. My mom calls and she says, well, your head coach, Bobby Fox, who was a backup for Johnny Unitas with the Colts. So we threw the ball, had a heart attack, and he's no longer coach. So the new coach is our offensive lineman. And I go into, and I remember going in through the deal because I said, okay, I'll be able to play USFL or NFL or something because we throw the ball so much.
Yeah.
And I'm in line to get quarterback pads, and the new coach says, no, you need to get big pads because we're going to run the veer and the option. And I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds, slow and white.
Yeah.
I can't run the option. So I went from first string to third string.
Oh my God.
And I thought, well, my career is over. And I had an agent, which you're not supposed to. He said, just stick with it. You'll be fine. And, midway through the season, I was going to go to medical school. I was a pre-med major.
Yeah.
I was working in the hospital. I was tutoring. The head coach who didn't like me had me tutoring other kids in biology, which really pissed me off. And so I just that was done. And I thought the career was over with, but here I am sitting here talking to you.
You ended up going to, didn't you go to another school?
No, that Tarleton State, that was the fourth one. I went to Cisco, A&M, Stephen F. Austin, and then Tarleton State.
Did you ever graduate?
I did not graduate.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I was engaged and everything was going to be great. I'm not going to play football anymore. I'll go to medical school. And then all of a sudden we go from, let's move the wedding up to, I'm done with you. Your roommate says you'll never amount to anything. And so at the end of that semester, I just came home and figured I'm going to get on with my life and just go get a job in sales.
Yeah.
And, my brother saw this semi-pro football team on the news down in Galveston, Texas. And he said, you need to go down there and try out. And I went down there and got on the team. And 4 weeks later, the Houston Oilers called me and brought me over for a workout and signed me. And there I was.
Wait a minute. So you go from I'm done with football to a semi, is that like the minor league system? Is that?
It's playing football for free with convicts. We actually had a guy that was he would get out of jail on the weekends.
Jeez.
And he had to go back Monday and through Friday. And
oh my God.
I remember we had guys on the team that would smoke on the sideline. But I thought, you know what? If I'm going to ever make it or get a chance, I'm going to do it. And that team we wound up winning the semi-pro national championship that year. But, I got to go.
And you were the quarterback?
I was.
Like the the first string.
I finally got to start high school without getting hurt.
Let's make sure we're clear about this, Paul. So you were the starting quarterback, and you guys won the national championship.
I was not starting when I got there, but correct.
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting, very interesting.
So you're pretty good at now. Would you be good at throwing that one or?
Well, people say, can you still throw a football? And I'll tell them one time I can throw it once. And then it's a bunch of Tylenol and ice.
Right. So you ended up with the Houston Oilers. Well, they're the Texans now, right? Aren't they?
They moved to in '96. They moved to Tennessee. Now they're the Titans.
That's right. Interesting side story that I have. I was in Nashville for a convention and in a bar in downtown Nashville, drunk out of my mind. And Steve McNair came in.
Yeah.
And I was playing pool and he put down a $50 bill and said he'd bet. I said, okay. And so I beat Steve McNair's ass in pool and took his $50 and made him autograph it as well. But he had the biggest dude I've ever seen in my entire life is one of his offensive linemen. This dude was massive. I've never met anybody so big in my life.
No, it's incredible. It's incredible how big and fast they are.
They are massive, man.
I'll tell you a funny story. My first day on the Oilers, I go over there, and 30 minutes from signing my contract, I'm in full gear, and I was nervous, so I had every pad on you could find.
Yeah.
I dropped back to pass, and there was a guy named Doug Smith who was the starting nose tackle, whatever they call it nowadays. He was 6'6", 330 pounds. And I dropped back, and I've got a red jersey on. And I see him coming, and in my mind, I go, okay, I can outrun this guy. And I take off running around to the right, and there's just this big shadow coming over me.
Oh, that sucks.
And he bear slapped me in the back of back, and I rolled into a chain link fence and just looked up, and he just looked at me and he goes, quarterback, this is the NFL, and you got a red jersey on.
Oh, man.
The next day I came out, no pads in my pants, no chin strap, because they couldn't hit you. They can't hit you in practice. They don't hit quarterbacks, which was the best job I've ever had.
In practice. Did you start in any games?
After the Oilers, I went to the Arena Football League, and I started and played there.
Okay. But not in.
I don't know what's going on here. Kelly's stuff just popped up, and I don't know how to move it, so I can't see you.
You can't see me.
Let me call her. Her emails just all popped up for some reason. I'm on her screen. She's going to fix it.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, kid.
There you go. All right. I told you.
Like, let me get out of here.
I just sit where I'm told and answer questions.
That's awesome. So did you play in any of the Oilers games at all?
No,
okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
But I'll tell you something. And, going back to, because people go, you got to do this, but I'd get up at 4 a.m. and go work out before. Once my old fiance's roommate told me, well, she said, you'll never amount to anything. I called BS on this, and I made a change because I'm going to prove it. Yeah. So I did. I got up and did, and all my friends, you'll never play. You need to stop trying. You're 6 feet tall, which is short. And I used to go to camp. When I'd go to camp, they'd ask me if I was the kicker. And I thought I was a pretty big guy. But, and so you have your friends telling you, don't do it. You're never going to make it. You're not good enough. And then you sign and you're on, they see, I saw you on the news. Can we get tickets? It's that type of stuff. But and that happened in business with me, and everything else was everybody telling me no. But that motivated me to get up and go do it when I didn't want to do it, do it. And that was probably the best satisfaction.
I think, a lot of people, Chad says, Kelly is live bombing. So I think a lot of people, and I'm very transparent. I'm a recovered alcoholic with 18 years sober. And people are like, oh, the ego is edging God out. And dude, I disagree. I think the ego is a good thing. I think the ego can save your life. My ego saved my ass. I wouldn't be so. Somebody called me a worthless drunk and said everybody knew I was. And I was like, whoa, that's not cool. We got to change that. No, and it's the same thing with you.
No, you're absolutely right. Because if you accept what people are telling you, you have that attitude, you'll never get out of bed in the morning. Ever. It's over with.
Yeah.
You might as well go find you a shopping cart with good wheels on it and find a bridge.
Yep.
Because life's hard. I mean, it is tough.
It is very, very tough, man. It is. And so you ended up in the USFL.
No, in the Arena Football League.
Oh, Arena. Sorry. Arena Football. And what now, how many teams were there in that?
When I got in, there were 6. I got in the second year in the Arena Football League. I played the second and third year in 88 and 89.
Okay.
Actually, June Jones was my quarterback coach at the Oilers, and he and Mouse Davis got me in that league.
Wow. And so did you travel all over the U.S.?
Yeah. My first year I played up in New England. We were based out of Providence. We played, out in Los Angeles where I took a nice shot to the chin and got knocked out. I got,
Jeez.
actually, it was a touchdown pass, so that was great. So, but I got up and I kind of, back then we didn't have the big plastic chin strap with the padding. It was the ones that tear. I think they're paper mache or something.
Yeah.
I threw the ball and the guy hit me right in the chin. And I got up, and in the film, you can see me stumbling over to the wrong sideline.
Oh my God.
And the players got me to go down to hold the ball for the extra point, the point after the kick. And in the film, I'm sitting there like this, and they knew I was out of it. So they direct snapped it to the kicker, and he drop kicked it. And I'm still on the ground on a knee with my hands out holding the ball.
Oh my God. Wow. So did you now wasn't that it was Trump that started or like made that whole league happen, wasn't it?
Trump he owned the New Jersey Generals in the USFL.
Oh, USFL. Okay.
Yeah, and he's the one that did the lawsuit. He pushed for the lawsuit against the NFL because he wanted to merge.
Yes.
The NFL because the USFL was a fantastic league in the spring, and he kind of shot that down.
Arena football, Charles says it's like watching live pinball. Arena football is brutal, man.
It is. It's and when I played, a bunch of people came over from the NFL. So just about everybody we had guys on the line that were from the Jets, the Lions, the Patriots. It was, and you don't have anywhere to run, which I'm slow anyway. Right. In football, in pro football, quarterbacks don't have to run the 40-yard dash, or they don't time you. They just go over there and throw the ball.
Right.
Which is, another perfect setup.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Wow. So how long were you in the arena football?
I played 2 years, and then I tore my knee up in 1989.
Okay.
And actually, believe it or not, I met Kelly in 1989. And she came to my last game in Cincinnati where I tore my knee up.
Wow.
We wound up getting married. So
wow. She's like, oh, he needs me to take care of him.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. Kelly's from a small town in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And so when I was flying home to Houston to Intercontinental Airport, which is a huge airport in Houston. There's different terminals and Kelly hadn't lived in Houston long, so my knee's bad. I can barely walk. I have my bags, cowboy boots on. It's August, and I get the stuff, and my knee's killing me. I was coming home to have surgery, and I go, okay, where'd you park? And she goes, well, I don't know. I took a train from one parking lot to another.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
We were stumbling around Intercontinental Airport for a couple hours, but actually found her car at the airport, and I don't know how we did it, but she remembered she was on a train and got to the terminal somehow.
Oh my gosh. That's it. She didn't know where it was.
No, but she found it, and it's turned out well with her. So
yeah, right.
Like I tell people, it was love at first sight, and I like her too.
Wow. So so after you got, what happened after you got out of that? Did you have, how does it work with like sponsorship and all that? Did you ever have like sponsors? And
no, up in, we have people up there that give you cars for the season and stuff like that. But, no, not really.
Okay.
I was just a guy that, when I tell people, where somebody says, oh, Kelly will say, my husband played football, and they'll just look at me. And the first thing I said, you don't know me. You never saw me.
Yeah.
Wow. No highlight reels.
Right. So what did you do after you got out of arena football?
Well, after that, I was done. And my brother and I figured we'd go into, I've been self-employed since high school.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to start, when he was in college up at Loyola in Chicago, he worked for a moving company. And we said, well, let's just start a moving company. And banks wouldn't loan us money to go buy a truck. So we would actually go up to houses that had for sale signs in the yard and knock on the door and say, if you, the homeowner, will go rent a truck, a U-Haul rider, whatever the trucks are, we'll do the move for you. And that's how we started.
Wow.
And then we finally, we'd go to the bank and explain to them, look, we're doing this much business and we're spending this much on renting trucks. And banks still wouldn't loan us money to buy a used Ryder or U-Haul truck. So we found a doctor to co-sign a loan for us. And that's how we got our first truck.
Wow.
And it's funny because I actually moved back to my parents' house to save money. And we parked this 24-foot bobtail truck in their yard or in the driveway.
Wow.
And we called my bedroom the bedfast because it was the bedroom and the office.
Oh my God.
Now my brother still had an apartment, so he was doing fine. He was my younger brother, but I still had to work out of the bedfast.
And this is after you played professional football.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Yeah, we started this, I think, in 1990.
Did you ever have that sense of, I played in the NFL, I shouldn't be living at my parents'?
No, when I played ball, it was fun. It was always a goal. I mean, I didn't drink in high school. I didn't go to my prom. I never tasted a beer until I was 23.
Wow.
I was focused on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that was it. I got there, and when I was done, I was done. One thing I'm pretty good at is compartmentalizing. Once it's over with, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, when I was in school, at first 3 or 4 weeks of school, I was great, but after that, I'm thinking about what else I should be doing.
Right.
I was in college to play football, but once I switched to pre-med and was going to go to medical school, I did great because I was busy all the time. I worked the emergency room at night. I worked the crisis hotline. I went to school and I played football. So I was doing good. But if I was bored, it was over with.
Yeah.
So, once football was done, I focused strictly on building the business, and we did well. I mean, we didn't get paid. We made sure the bills were paid. I finally moved out probably a year and a half, 2 years after that when we started paying each other.
Yeah.
And, we built it up from one truck, loaner trucks to buying a truck. We built it up and sold it 6 years later. But at one point we had 17 trucks. We had about 50 employees. We had 37,000 square foot warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had 18 wheelers running 48 states, and it's just, and we were the last guys to get paid.
I when I was in, long story, but I was pretty much homeless in Seattle at one point. And this dude I met out drinking says, well, I own a moving company. If you need a job and you want to make some cash, I'll pay you cash every day. And I'm like, cool, I have drinking money. So I show up the next day earlier than the crack of anything. And I'm like, the dude that was like the head of the truck that I was riding on, he's like, well, we got 4 moves scheduled with one baby grand piano. And I'm like, okay, 4 moves. What's that mean? Dude, I was like, this is insanity. Yeah. And he's like, run, you got to run. I'm like, run. He's like, run in, grab a box, run it to the truck, run back. I'm like, are you out of your mind, dude? What are you smoking? Like, I'm not running. What? And so I worked one day.
Yeah.
I'll never do this again, ever. No way. It is hard work.
It is tough work. And my brother and I did the moves ourselves when we first got started.
Dude, that it's hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard work.
It is. It's not easy.
Yeah. So you did that for 6 years. You sold the company, and what'd you end up doing after that?
I'll tell you, we sold the company because I was tired of it.
Yeah.
We had, and I'll tell you the story. We had an operations manager, and we moved this lady. She was 86 years old and wanted to move up to Tyler, and didn't have any money. So I said, okay, we'll move her for free if we can, put some of our new people in there to train. And so we sent our operations manager over there to do it. And she calls back, or somebody called and said, we're missing jewelry. And so we'd start at the top. Everybody goes and takes a lie detector test. And so his comes back. That the guy called, said, you don't need to send anybody else. This guy is guilty as hell. And so we suspend him with pay. And we used to pay our employees on Monday because we paid them on Friday. They wouldn't show up to work Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
And so this guy threatens to kill me in front of everybody. So we get a police report. He wants his check. He knows when it's going to be. So anyway, suspend him with pay. Next thing I know, the Department of Labor is walking into our office wanting to sue us or fine us all this money. So we fight that. At the end of the day, they go, you owe this guy $6,000. And I said, we have proof that he stole money from this lady. He threatened to kill me. There's a police report. He did it in front of other people.
Yeah.
He threatened all kinds of stuff. And you want us to pay him $6,000. And the guy, I remember him sitting in my office, me and my brother and the guy from the Department of Labor. And he goes, well, that's the law. And I don't make the law. And I said, well, I'm going to run for Congress and change the law. And I wound up running for Congress after that.
Wow.
So,
wow. That's a good reason to run for Congress.
Yeah. And
did you win?
No, I lost by 7 points. I ran against an incumbent.
Wow.
I lost by 7 points, outspent 14-1. And I want to tell you, just so you know what's going on with this election. I don't know how many non-Trumpers are watching, but it actually does happen. Happened to me. We woke up on election day in 2000. All my signs were gone. And in early voting in Texas, you can vote 2 weeks early, paper ballots. And you have 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats in counting the votes. And we figured we needed like 38%, and numbers were 43%. Okay, great. We're feeling good. So election night comes around. The polls close at 7 o'clock. You have to get all the votes, seal them up, get them to the county. They certify, county counts them, certifies them, sends them to Secretary of State. So you're good 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
7:30, 30 minutes after the poll closes, I get a call from a guy on the State Board of Education from this certain county that's, he goes, well, it's over with. You, George W. Bush, and Kay Bailey Hutchison all got 30% across the board. This is 30 minutes after. And once we looked into it, I mean, in one precinct, the incumbent congressman that I was running against got 194% voter turnout.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
But I tell you, that was an experience. And we had death threats. Kelly had her tires slashed.
What?
Oh yeah, it was brutal. And I wouldn't do it now with social media and what they do to you.
No, it's crazy, dude. I have a good friend. I've done a lot of work here in Ohio for the Republican Party, and I have a good friend that was state senator for 2 terms here, and worked on his website and campaign stuff. Yep. And I mean, I set up his email, and it was, hey, my wife's watching. It was about, I don't know. He didn't know how to check his email. So I go over to his office, and I'm like, dude, here. And I log in, and he had thousands and thousands of, I mean, nasty emails. Yeah. And he's laughing about them. Yeah. I'm like, these people are threatening to kill you, dude. He's just, delete. And he's laughing. I'm like, they're threatening to kill you. Yeah. Shouldn't you like call the? He's like, nah, dude, I'm not. And he just, it was crazy. I mean, it's nuts, man. It is. Politics is absolutely insane.
It is. It's unbelievable. I ran twice, but
jeez.
Yeah. Speaking of what your guy went through and him laughing about it.
Yeah.
We had they put out negative mailers on me, and they were all in color. I mean, it was just negative, made me look like a convict and all this stuff. And my campaign manager's going, this is horrible. I'm just excited as can be. I was telling him, we could never afford stuff like that. Look at this. I look thin. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what after that, what business, what did you do? I mean, I know you didn't get a job. You probably started a business of some kind.
After that, that was November. I woke up, we were broke. I mean, no money, house payments due, behind Christmas is around the corner. We had 2 small kids.
Yeah.
I remember one time my son's birthday party, we were behind on mortgage, And I told, this was back when we had a landline at home. I said, don't answer the phone to my in-laws, anybody. Do not answer the phone.
Yeah.
Phone rings. My father-in-law answers it, yells out, Paul, your mortgage company's on the phone.
Oh my
And at the same time, I had two guys knocking on the door saying, your mortgage company sent us here. You need to respond to them. And so,
oh my God.
and I remember calling Kelly saying, hey, don't come home. The repo guy's driving around. He'd drive around, and then I'd call, okay, you can come home now. And so we went through that, and I had some guys that were in the oil business offer me a job to go work for them. And so I went and met with them. They had an office in Austin, which is about 3 hours from here.
Yeah.
So I went over there and met with them, and they said, look, we want you to do this and kind of be the head, face of because I ran for Congress and met a lot of people.
Yeah.
They thought I could help them with, money raising and families with, acreage. And so they said, and we were broke. I mean, broke.
Yeah.
And they said, the first 6 months, you'd probably make $100,000 in 6 months, which is a lot of money.
Right.
I'm driving back, and I'm driving through this little oil town called Giddings, Texas, and they're drilling a well on the side of the road. And I thought to myself, I'm going to just start my own company and do this myself. And I called Kelly, and I said, hey, I'm not going to take the job. I'm going to do this myself. And, being the trooper she is, she just said, okay, if that's what you want to do. And so I came home. I knew zero. I don't want to say knew zero. I knew maybe 2%, 2 points of the oil business. So I started, I partnered with a guy that had been in the business, and we started putting some projects together and getting some individual investors and things like that. And just went to a family that I'd met when I ran for Congress, and they had 350,000 acres in Texas.
Wow.
A whole lot. And so, and they used to be very hard to deal with in the industry. Everybody knew them. They said, we're not going to deal with them. They're just too difficult. But we had met them when I ran for Congress, and they didn't charge me any fees to get a lease. We went in and worked some old wells.
Yeah.
And, cut a deal with another company to put up all the money and do that. And we'd get 25%. They'd get, 75%.
Yeah.
And, we're able to Band-Aid here and there and stay afloat. And, I remember one point of this about a year later, we had Kelly and I were doing some fundraising to help poor families with Christmas. It was Christmas time, and we were broke.
Yeah.
And to get them Christmas presents, and one guy had sent a check of $100 to the city hall rather than our house, and he made it to me, Paul Williams. And I was trying to sell my interest, my 25%, to another company at that time because we were just so broke.
Yeah.
And nobody do it. And we got that check, and I said to Kelly, this $100, it's made to me. It really helped us right now. We have no food. They're about to cut off, electricity and everything. And we just thought about it and prayed about it. And we both said, no, that's not what it's for. So we went, and a week later, I sold that interest for $50,000.
Wow.
So, it tells you doing the right thing. God's going to test you and lead you where you want to go. And you do the right thing, everything's going to work out. And so that helped. And
after
I started building.
That's powerful. That's a powerful lesson too.
It is.
Because that would have been very tempting. And you know what, man, I've been there. My wife and I have been through it, man. We lost a house. We were behind on our mortgage years ago, and we, got so far behind they took it. But that's
a common deal too. You're not the only one that's been through that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. 08, 09.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that lost everything, so, but I think that it's in our darkest moments like that, our true character is revealed, and God's strength is revealed as well to us. So
absolutely.
Hey, there's Doug Wing. Do you know that guy?
I do not. Hey, Doug, how are you?
I guarantee you've used his products. I'll bet his dad is the founder, creator of the Little Giant Ladder.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, most
Very
people
good.
have heard of it. That's yeah.
Incredible.
But so you got into the oil business, and struck black gold.
A little bit. We had some success. We had some dry holes as well.
Yeah.
Things were going well. I went from having the repo guy drive around to being, I remember the day Kelly, we were going to go get her a new car finally, and I was able to buy a Lexus off the showroom,
Wow.
brand new. And so I was glad, I was happy I could finally do that for my wife.
Yeah.
Because she never said, don't do that. You need to go get a job ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been tough. And then, we went through there, and then we had an issue. Things are going great. Had an issue with an old partner. It was a tragedy. He wound up hanging himself. Cost us a lot of money and some stuff. So had to start over in 2006.
Oh my God.
Lost everything.
Wow.
So yeah, had to start over, and we're going well. And then 2008, 2009 hit, and Robert, that's right.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say it, but mine too.
That's right. We had some of the neighbors around here that knew us when the repo guy was driving around, to where when I was able to buy Kelly the Lexus off the showroom, actually called us the Beverly Hillbillies. So, I've unfriended them on Facebook.
That's awesome, man. So in 2006, you lost everything because of a bad situation with a partner, and started over again.
Things were going well. We were about to start, and then 2008 hit, and that story. I mean,
yep.
You're sitting there watching the market crash.
Yeah.
And everything else, and because we deal in our business. What we do is we have a good team. We'll go out and identify some acreage that we want to drill oil on. And, and back then, before the 2006, we were drilling the big 16,000 foot wells. I mean, they cost $6 million to drill, and we'd partner with some guys in New York that were good. And so everything was going well. And I've drilled in California, and then the Eagle Ford Shale came in, and we started doing that, but you don't make any money. So now I've gotten back to drilling shallow, like Beverly Hillbillies. If it's close to the ground, it's lower risk, because what we do is we go out and raise money through individuals, because our stuff is too small for the private equity funds.
Right.
We have individuals that invest for a percentage and on the leases and when we drill the wells. So that's how we do it now.
Gotcha.
But yeah, starting over. And so that's what we do. And
so what do you think? I mean, you've my gosh, man, you've done a lot of amazing things. I mean, whether you ever played or not doesn't matter. You were still signed by the NFL.
Yeah.
By you played or you were a member of.
Yeah, I was in the team picture.
But you were the backup quarterback for the Houston Oilers. You've played arena football. You've done a lot of amazing things. And, what do you think holds most people back in life from experiencing success and real happiness and joy and all of that?
I think people are afraid to fail. And I think the worst thing is people are afraid of what other people are going to think about them.
Yep.
And if you'll just get that out of your head and go, if you want to do something, go. This is how this country was built. Yeah, it was built because people were tired of somebody telling them what they can't do.
Yep.
And they said, screw it. And they did. I mean, look at what we've done in 200 plus years.
Yep.
We lead the world because of people like the guy that his dad did the ladder.
Yep.
Where did that come from? I mean, if he would have showed his friends, this is what I want to do, and they laughed at him, he wouldn't have done it.
They did laugh at him. You got to hear the story. It's amazing.
I want to. I mean, that's, and like you, people told you, oh, you're biggest drunk around. You don't need to do it. And you've turned that around.
Yeah.
Because you didn't listen to what other people told you can't do. Like I said earlier, my friends, you can't play football. You can't play pro football. You're too short. You're too slow. You don't have any business experience. You weren't a business major. You can't start a business. Why are you running for United States Congress? Why don't you run for local city council?
Right.
Well, that's not how the world works.
That's right.
The world works on what you see and what you want to do. If you have the guts to go do something, then go do it. But don't let other people tell you can't do something. Love
that, man. I literally wrote a long post about that yesterday, and it was about that moment where I stopped giving a crap about what everybody else thought, and it literally was, for me, it became a moment, but it became a moment after a lot of long years of being more concerned about what other people thought than actually pursuing what I wanted.
Yeah.
And once you flip that switch, man, it's like we say in recovery about drinking. Once you become a pickle, there ain't no going back to being a cucumber.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Right. Like once that switch flips and you, man, it's on like Donkey Kong. So you think that's the biggest thing that's holding people back is.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to live your life, or do you want to live what everybody else's life, what they're telling you should do? And people are so concerned about what other people think about them and what they're trying to do. And if they fail, people are going to, at least you tried. I mean, I think it was Theodore Roosevelt that wrote that, in the arena.
Yeah.
You're in the arena. And I remember my friends used to say, well, you never got to play when you were on the Oilers. I said, well, how'd I look on the field from you buying the ticket to sit in the seats to watch?
Yeah.
I went and did it because other people told me I wouldn't amount to anything.
Right.
So I got up and did it. And anybody can do whatever they want to do. We haven't been, that's what we used to be taught in school when they teach American history, how this country was built.
Yeah.
How people, I mean, think about it. You can go in the hospital and get a heart transplant. Who thought of that? Who learned how to do that? We put people on the moon because somebody said we're going to do it. So you got a bunch of guys to figure it out. And of course, a bunch of guys without calculators, by the way.
Yeah.
They actually do long math. Now you have kids that can't read cursive.
They're not teaching it anymore.
No. You hand somebody a card in cursive and they stare at it.
We're teaching our daughter how to write in cursive. So the schools aren't teaching it. It's crazy. No. It's crazy. Well, we won't get into outside agendas, but I think that, and by the way, The Arena is one of my favorite poems, and I have it. It's on a huge frame. It's back here in the back of my office that needs to go up on the wall. But yeah, it's there's nothing will beat somebody that gets in the ring and just. I had a friend that his this guy built $100 million plus a year company, and very, very profitable company. And one day I call this guy up, and I had one employee, Paul, and I couldn't pay him. I could not pay my employee this 1 week, and it wasn't even that much money looking back, but at the moment it felt like $1 million. Like, I owe this guy $1 million and he's going to die and starve to death, and it's my fault, and I remember, and my office was so small that I couldn't talk to this guy in the office. So I went way out in the parking lot to talk to this guy just for advice. I didn't want money from him. I said, I know that at some point you struggled in business, and now you're doing over $100 million a year, and you drive the big 745 IL, and what's the secret? And he said, dude, there was a time when I had 5 credit cards and they were all maxed out, $400,000. I would put payroll on my credit card sometimes if it was even available.
Yeah.
There were times when I would get all 40, 50 employees together and say, hey, we're not going to make payroll this week, but we'll get you next week.
Yeah. There.
Yeah. And he said some people walked out. Said, nah, screw this place. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And other people stayed. The people that stayed are now all millionaires.
Yeah.
All of them, right?
Absolutely.
He said, the secret, if you want the secret, here it is. You stay in the ring, you keep running, you keep fighting, and you don't let that effing tiger catch you.
Exactly.
That's what he said. I was like, what's the tiger, dude? What's the tiger? That's what I want to know. Like, just tell me what the tiger is. So I know what to look for. It's like the big guy grabbing you. You're like, I knew he was coming for me, right? So, but I that is what owning a business is about. That's what, not just owning a business, that's what life is. If you're living life on the sidelines and not actually in the game, it gets boring.
It does. And if you're in the game, you're going to be hit.
Yes.
You're going to get hit hard. You're going to get knocked out, but eventually you'll score. You'll do it. And what you said, talking to other people, that reminded me, when we started the moving company, that doctor that co-signed the loan for us, he goes, I want you to call this guy named Rod. He's a friend of mine. He does deliveries. And I go, we do our own deliveries. So I call this guy up and he goes, you don't know why you're calling me, do you? And I go, no. And he goes, yeah, I figured with, Bobby telling you that you wouldn't know. And he goes, I started with 1 truck. Now I have 750. I do 40 million a year. And I would go to his office at 5:45 in the morning every day. And his name was Rod Crosby. He's 81, 82 now. Wow. And he had his company and they built it up. It was fantastic. And I did the same thing in oil, and just what you're doing, going to seek out people and ask them, how do you do this? Yep. You don't want to ask a fat guy how to get skinny. It doesn't work. No. If you don't know what you're doing, go find somebody that's done it. They will tell you. They'll help you. Find a mentor. Successful people love to help other people starting.
Yep.
And that helps you. Go find those friends.
Yeah.
If other friends are telling you can't do something, you're 100% right.
I agree with you, man. I think the biggest problem with people, I think you'll agree, is, and this is metaphorically, but I think that a lot of people are listening to the advice of the fat guy telling you how to get skinny. Absolutely. And they don't even realize that it's a fat guy telling you how to get skinny.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's easier for people to drag you down than to tell you can do it, because then they have to do something. They have to step up.
Yeah.
That's
true, man. That's true. So what's on the horizon for you, man?
We're working on just building the oil and gas. We were supposed to, on our current project, we were supposed to start a pretty aggressive drilling program. And then this COVID hit. Saudi Arabia was fighting with Russia, and oil prices went down from $50 to $40 to $30 to $6 to -38. And we're sitting there going, here I am again, not getting paid. How are we going to do this? This is this year. And so I think we're close to starting to be able to drill. But with that happen, just to show you how you can maneuver things through relationships, people would call me, hey, I need storage for oil. Do you know anybody? So we started helping matchmaking people. Jim needs this, Bob has this, putting them together. And it also got us into being able to matchmake with people that need or want to sell oil, gas, diesel, jet fuel, shipping. So we've started doing that. And my son's come on to work with me now as the last about 2 months ago. So we're doing that as well. So
yeah,
raise money and try to drill wells.
That's it. What is this going to look like with I don't think that we'll ever have a Biden administration, but I
hope not.
Yeah.
But if the oil and gas, my opinion on the if Biden gets in, your taxes are going to go sky high.
Yeah.
Oil's going to be $150 a barrel.
Yeah.
Gasoline. I paid in California for regular gasoline, regular unleaded, $3.55. Here in my car, I have to put premium unleaded in my car, it's $1.80 in Texas.
Wow.
And it's amazing. I don't get the stupidity.
Yeah.
I can say this because I'm a guest and I'm a conservative, but this is amazing. What's going on here? I mean, the combined IQ of what Biden's going to put in the cabinet and the Oval Office has to be -4. I mean, and that with these people, why people spend 70 and 80 and $100 million to run for a job that pays $170,000 a year in Congress and the Senate. You go in broke and you come out a millionaire, and laws don't apply to you.
It's true, man. And it's on both sides. It's not just one-sided. It's on both sides. And I'm with you, dude. Man, Paul, you're a good dude. I'm very grateful that you came on and shared your story, man. If everybody wanted to follow you, where's the best place to follow you?
I'm on Facebook. I don't know why, but Parlor, PLW463, my company, stallion-energy.com, or obviously my Kelly Williams, my wife and her Kelly Williams show. I do have a Facebook show called Telling It Like It Is with Paul and Bruce. Facebook we used to reach about 800,000 a week. Now Facebook has banned us and cut us off and shut our show down. I think we're reaching 1,400 people a week now.
Wow.
My partner on that, Bruce, challenged Mark Zuckerberg to a fist fight.
I
think that has something to do with it.
Unless your partner's a little girl, I don't think that would be a fair fight.
Exactly right. I told him y'all can fight in a phone booth and give Zuckerberg a knife.
Oh my God.
But I appreciate you having me, and you've got a great story. It's very inspirational, and thank you for everything that you do.
Oh, dude, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I can't wait to meet you and your wife in person, and maybe I've never thought of Houston as a vacation destination, but maybe we'll make a trip down there.
Well, we're outside of Houston in a small town called Kemah. We're on the water. There's a boardwalk down here, like a little Santa Monica restaurants.
Oh, wow.
1,000 people. We get 4 million visitors a year. Come down.
Wow.
I'll cook some good seafood or steak for you. You'll love it. Have a great time.
Wow. That sounds like a good time. And we're the same size. I'm 6 foot as well. So, yeah, but I've been listening to a fat guy tell me how to get skinny. So,
well, I'm glad we're from the neck up here, from the shoulders up here. I get on a scale now. A ticket comes out and says 1 at a time.
That is freaking hilarious, dude. Oh, well, let's see. We don't live on the water, but one good storm. What?
That's my wife. People go, do you live on the water? I tell them we're one good hurricane away. You can see the water from our house, but there's about 100 yards to the water. So one good storm.
And y'all aren't far from like Galveston, right? That's not far.
We're right between Houston and Galveston on the Galveston Bay.
Wow. You have that liberal sheriff down in Houston.
Yeah, that's Harris County. I'm in Galveston County, where we have a conservative, in Harris County, they do all the mask and all that. Our county judge down here says that's unconstitutional. So
wow.
He didn't want to do the lockdowns or anything else. So we're not in occupied territory yet.
So are all the restaurants and everything wide open there?
Yeah, down here where I live, they are. In Houston, with the socialists up there running that town, they're going out of business. They have no idea on how basic math works, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. A lot of businesses have been put out of business.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man.
Well, if Biden does get in, buy your toilet paper and paper towels now, because you're going to need them.
They're out.
Yeah,
the stores are out here.
I will say I was able to order 2 cases online the other day, and so It should be here tomorrow. I'm pretty proud of myself for that accomplishment. I'll be selling them at the corner at the Shell station.
No kidding, man. Like, yeah, you can get top dollar out of that.
Exactly.
Well, listen, man, thank you, Paul. I appreciate you coming on. You're a good dude. Appreciate your story. It's amazing. And everybody go follow Paul. What's your parlor again?
PLW 463.
PLW 463.
Yeah, because Paul Williams is such an uncommon name.
Yeah, right.
So, but Ken, thank you again. You're an inspiration. Always enjoy watching your show, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Don't hang up on me. I'm going to end the live stream though, so hang with me so we can chat for a minute. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving. It's tomorrow.
It is.
Right? Yeah, tomorrow. Jeez.
And we're still allowed to say that. I think I'm going to have 100 people over at my house just to set them off.
Yeah. I just read a story about a lady in Orange County, California that's having 300 people.
Perfect.
I know.
Hero.
I know. I love this woman. All right, dude. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Y'all have a good, happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching, and we will see you all next week. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.